James Gunn's DC universe is facing its biggest mystery. Who will be their Batman? They announced a reboot called The Brave and the Bold, but it's stalled out. No script, no writer, no real progress. Meanwhile, Superman drops a highway sign pointing to Gotham City. That's not just a random detail. It's a direct hint that Batman's arrival might be closer than we think. Could Robert Pattinson's Batman end up joining the DCU after all?
No, Robert Pattinson didn't reach out, and now I'm angry about it. To hear from him.
What a jerk.
There's evidence Matt Reeves' plans for the Batman Part 2 might already be answering DCU's biggest question. And with the future of Batman in this universe so uncertain, the stakes have never been higher. Before we get into it, 3,500 subs in under 5 weeks? That's actually insane. This channel's still a baby, and y'all are already making it grow fast. If you haven't subbed yet, now's the time to hop on. Alright, let's get into it. Let's talk about The Brave and the Bold, the film that was supposed to anchor Batman inside the new DC universe. This wasn't just another reboot. Gunn and Safran pitched it as a bold, emotional story with Bruce Wayne and his assassin son Damian Wayne at the center. The idea was to pull from Grant Morrison's comics and finally give the Bat family some real focus on screen. But for all the big promises, the project has barely moved. According to The Hollywood Reporter, this project currently lacks a writer. Even Andy Muschietti, attached in 2023, has had no updates on a script or filming schedule. There's no script, no casting, and no sign of production. For a film announced as a cornerstone, it feels like it's stuck before the starting gun. Compare that to the rest of the DCU lineup. Superman is already released. Peacemaker Season 2 is coming in August, and Supergirl finished shooting. But Batman, the most recognizable DC hero, is nowhere. Trying to build a connected universe without him is like launching the Avengers without Iron Man. The longer this drags on, the harder it is for the DCU to feel like a real, unified world. Heroes need to cross paths and interact for a shared universe to work, and Batman is the glue for a lot of those connections. James Gunn has said he wants a Batman that's different from what came before, not another copy of Christian Bale or Ben Affleck. He says he has a new approach in mind, but it's all talk until there's a real plan. Right now, there's no sign that this unique Batman is anywhere close to being cast, written, or filmed.
Contemplated? Have you had the conversation? Have you reconsidered integrating Pattinson's Batman into your DCU?
I've contemplated it. Yeah, I've contemplated it. You gotta contemplate everything, John. We gotta talk about everything.
After years of confusion and resets, the lack of movement on The Brave and the Bold just looks like more of the same. Every month without news makes it seem less like a careful plan and more like DC still doesn't know what to do with Batman. Enter the obvious alternative, working with the Batman that already exists. Robert Pattinson's take in Matt Reeves' The Batman made a huge impact. The movie pulled in over $770 million worldwide. Critics gave it an 85% on Rotten Tomatoes, and fans connected with the grounded approach. Pattinson's Batman has a loyal following, and the groundwork for a bigger world is already there. When you look at the DCU's uncertainty, it's hard to ignore how much value an established, successful Batman brings to the table. There's a debate among fans about what comes next. Some fans fear losing Reeves' grounded noir mood if his Batman gets pulled into a larger universe. They see the slow-burn, atmospheric world as something that could get watered down by the DCU's more fantastical elements. But others point out the upside. Reeves' attention to detail and the strong foundation already built could make his Batman the best candidate to anchor the DCU.
In no way, shape, or form do I want to see Superman show up in a sequel. I'm just curious if it exists.
You mean if it could? Is that what you discovered, that there was an alien that was Superman? There'd be a lot of shock. I mean, people would have to say like, oh my God, and maybe that would be the one fantastical element. But to be honest with you, that is not the intention at this point, to figure out how to make that come. If, look, we should be so lucky that this is a world that people embrace and that they say like, oh my God, we want to see what would happen when those things collide. I think if that challenge ever presents itself, it would be an exciting one to explore.
Instead of starting from scratch, the DCU could tap into a Gotham that's already earned trust and attention. It would skip the risky process of introducing a new actor and world, and it would bring along a fan base that's already invested. Insiders suggest Reeves drafted 2 versions of the Batman Part 2 scripts, one ready to integrate into Gunn's DCU. This isn't confirmed, but it makes sense. Reeves tends to plan for multiple outcomes, and with the DCU in flux, having options is smart. If Superman lands well and the timing is right, they could pivot and connect the worlds. But what if Gunn already planned for Gotham from day one? The proof is in the tiny highway marker in Superman.
Last thing for you, I spoke to James Gunn recently, and I asked him, obviously he talked about, letting you do your Reeves verse on his own. And I did ask him, have you contemplated recently integrating Rob into the DCU? And he said, they've talked about it, because you talk about everything.
Sure, yeah.
What's your attitude about that at this point?
I mean, it really comes down to whether or not it makes sense. And, I think what's been great is there was a it was really a kind of a story that I wanted to tell. You know, we're calling the epic crime saga and all of that, which is the thrust of what we wanted to do, and it's been important to me to be able to play that out. And you know, James and Peter have been really, really great about that, and they're letting us do that. And you know, what the future brings, I can't really tell you. I have no idea right now, except that my head is down now about getting the Batman Part 2 shooting and to make it something really, really special, which of course is the most important thing.
And if they decide, like, we really want Rob to be our DCU Batman?
You know, I don't know. Well, you know, we'll have to see where that goes.
A few days ago, actress Eiza Gonzalez liked an Instagram post celebrating the completion of the Batman Part 2 script. At first, that seemed random until people realized something strange. Matt Reeves just followed her, and if you followed Reeves long enough, you know he doesn't follow many people. In fact, the only actors he follows are ones confirmed to be involved in the Batman universe. So now fans are asking, is Eiza Gonzalez joining the Batman Part 2? And if so, who could she be playing? The most popular theory? Talia al Ghul. And that changes everything. Because if Reeves is casting Talia, that could mean he's planning to introduce the League of Assassins. That could mean Ra's al Ghul exists in his world. And that could mean Damian Wayne is coming. You know, the same Damian Gunn promised would debut in The Brave and the Bold. Let me know in the comments if this is the real deal. The biggest concern is tone. Pattinson's Batman lives in a world where everything feels real, no aliens, no magic, just street-level crime and corruption. But that contrast could actually help. When you look at how the MCU handled Iron Man and Thor, the clash of styles made their team-ups more interesting. The DCU could use that same formula. Pattinson's detective approach could play off Superman's optimism or Wonder Woman's mythic background, giving each character more to work with. The differences wouldn't be a problem, they'd be a feature. There's also a lot of room for Gotham to grow. Reeves' world is already layered, with plenty of space to introduce bigger DC elements. The League of Assassins, Ra's al Ghul, and Damian Wayne could all fit into this version of Gotham without breaking what works. The Batman Part 2 could be the bridge, moving from smaller, personal stories to something that opens the door to the rest of the DCU. That highway sign in Superman might look like a small detail, but it's deliberate. It's a breadcrumb for fans and a signal that these worlds don't have to stay separate. If Gunn and Reeves are thinking ahead, the groundwork for a shared universe is already being laid. All of this sets up the next big question. Is Matt Reeves quietly setting up the DCU's Batman right under everyone's nose? The Batman Part 2, misdirection or master plan? The direction of the Batman Part 2 is starting to look less like a simple sequel and more like a pivot point for the entire DCU. There's another layer to all this. Reeves has reportedly written 2 scripts for the Batman Part 2. One keeps things standalone, sticking to the slow burn detective style that worked in the first movie. The other is more flexible, it lets the story fold into the DCU if that's what Warner Brothers wants. The decision could come down to how Superman performs. If Gunn's Superman takes off, DC will have every reason to snap up Reeves' Gotham instead of rebooting again. That kind of success would make it a lot easier to justify blending these worlds, especially since Pattinson's Batman already has a fan base and a proven box office record. That Gotham City highway sign in Superman wasn't ran amidst the kind of small but deliberate tease Gunn favors. It's not a direct crossover, but it's enough to get people talking and to set up a future where Gotham can step into the DCU.